This is Bishop Michael Burbidge, and you are listening to the Walk Humbly podcast.
Podcasting from the St. Clair Studios here in the Diocese of Arlington. Welcome to the Walk Humbly podcast. I'm Billy Atwell, Chief Communications Officer for the Diocese, and your co-host. If you would like to have a question considered for the podcast, send it to info@arlingtondiocese.org or send us a message via social media. I welcome your host, Bishop Burbidge. Bishop, how you doing?
Billy, I'm doing well. Beautiful weather we've been enjoying, and hope all our listeners are enjoying the same. It's a great time of year, so doing well.
The heat is breaking finally.
It is breaking.
Hopefully we won't see 90-something again. So before we get started, we've got a couple of events we want to flag for everybody. The first is the Diocesan Pilgrimage to Emmitsburg, Maryland. It's on Saturday, October 7th, which is the Feast of Our Lady of the Rosary. Bishop Burbidge, you're going to be there leading a pilgrimage to two different sites. What are you looking forward to most about this pilgrimage?
Billy, I'm really looking forward to this. You know, we're concluding our second year of preparation focus on Our Lady. So how wonderful, providential. Our pilgrimage is on, as you mentioned, Our Lady of the Rosary at the Shrine of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton and the National Shrine Grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes in Emmitsburg. And I'm really hoping as many people, individuals and families can join us. A pilgrimage is just such a powerful reminder. It's a reminder that we walk together in faith. Is the Lord leading us, but where are we walking? We all have the final destination for which we long, to be with God and all the angels and saints forever in heaven, and with Mary showing us the way. So I really think it's going to be a beautiful day, everyone. I hope you can join us.
So there's going to be confessions available. There's a Eucharistic procession. There's going to be adoration. Bishop Burbidge is going to bless religious articles while we're there. It's really great. So we're going to start at the Shrine of Elizabeth Ann Seton, and then it actually moves over to, it's only about a 6-minute drive down the road to the National Shrine Grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes. So we hope you can join us. Again, that is on October 7th. Some parishes are sending buses or vans, so contact your parish and see if they're coordinating a group. And then the next is really a save the date. We're really looking far out here on this one, but June 8th of next summer, we want people to go ahead and get on their schedules, the Diocesan Jubilee Festival. Bishop, I know you're really excited.
I am really excited about that. Our 50th anniversary, we'll be celebrating in a few different ways, a mass with representatives because our cathedral does not can't open the doors to, everyone in the diocese, but we will have representatives from every parish, every school, will be live stream, all those things. It's going to be a beautiful Mass, September 5th. That October, we will be going to the Basilica National Shrine. So they are two major ways we're going to celebrate our 50th Jubilee. But this is the exciting news for me. This Diocesan Jubilee Festival on June 8th is for everyone.
That's right.
We're going to the fairgrounds out in Warrenton. A beautiful Mass. There's going to be music and festivities and dancing and food. There's going to be so many great things. And I really want this to be, in a sense, these doors, everyone can come. And it's individuals, it's families, it's people of all ages. It's a way to gather as a diocese. So I know it's a busy time of year, so we're jumping ahead. Get this on your schedule. June 8th, everyone.
Yeah, so that's going to be the Warren County Fairgrounds on June 8th. That's a Saturday. Go ahead and save that date, and you'll hear us talk more about it as we get closer to it. Bishop, as readers of the Herald and those who follow us on social media are certainly where we recently recognized Sister Mary Sue Carwile, the former principal of St. James School in Falls Church, for being elected the second counselor for the congregational leadership for the Sisters, Servants of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, often called the IHM Sisters. This past weekend, the Sisters celebrated 100 years of teaching at St. James School. Not 100 years of existence as an order or a congregation, but just at that one school. You have a long history with the IHM Sisters. You know them very well. I wonder if you might share maybe some stories or just your thoughts about their devoted ministry there.
Well, no, you're right. I have a long history. I went to two different grade schools and was taught at both schools by the Sisters of the Servants of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Then I went to high school, and the sisters were there as well. And even in graduate school, I had the sisters of the IHM Sisters. I told the people on Sunday, I said, now, don't hold that against the sisters with what you get.
They did their best.
They did their best. It was a raw product. But I have a great love and admiration of the sisters. I think of, on Sunday, I was thinking of so many of them who really had a great impact in my life, not just because they were such super educators, Catholic educators, but just the witness of their joy for serving the Lord and His church. And I really did. I thought and prayed for, and I remembered by name many of the sisters who taught me who were called home to God. And it was so great that some of the former teachers at St. James came back, and they just talk about their memories, and they were just so happy to be here, and we were so thrilled to welcome them and to honor them back. I just, and really with the women religious in our diocese, we're so blessed with various communities and congregations. I just gathered with them in September 9th, and boy, I look around the room, I see these sisters and think of all the years of service and so many ministries, teaching and hospital work and counseling and charitable works. And it's just, you can't help but to be inspired. And I was really glad that our diocese really focused in the Catholic Herald last January on the various religious orders in serving in our diocese.
Yeah.
I guess people still can see that, right?
Yeah, if you go to CatholicHerald.com and search Religious Sisters in the Arlington Diocese, you'll see that article that was put together. It's great to see the full scope of it. Because we are well served in this diocese, and it's there's less sisters each year. We're trying to encourage young women to consider this vocation, see if God's calling them to it. But we're so blessed to have IHM Sisters and several other orders here as well. Absolutely. I was looking at some of the history, and so. The IHM Sisters arrived to our diocese, 7 sisters, on August 28th, 1923. Think about all that's happened between 1923 and now. And their first day of school was September 17th under the leadership of Mother Josepha Clark. Right. So her and 7 sisters began teaching 92 students at St. James School. I think they've grown a little bit since then.
Yeah, they have grown. They have grown. And God bless and many, many thanks to all the women religious serving in our diocese.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bishop, the Church in the United States recognizes September 18th, so that's yesterday as the day of this recording, through the 24th as National Migration Week. It culminates in the World Day of Migrants and Refugees. Pope Francis chose the theme for this year is free to choose whether to migrate or to stay. Our diocese is deeply involved in helping to resettle Afghan refugees, especially since the fall of Kabul to the Taliban. But well before that, we were assisting in that good effort. I thought you might share a little bit about why is the church involved in this effort? Why is this so important to us?
Yeah, and as you mentioned, as we are getting ready to celebrate our 50th anniversary, we celebrate the history of our diocese, and from its founding. Has always been available to settle people from other lands who made their way here for various reasons. And so that ministry continues at a significant level even today. Yeah, when we saw that tragic footage of people trying to leave Afghanistan who were unable to get on the planes, all of our hearts were broken. Those people are still there. Many who assisted U.S. forces are now left as victim of the Taliban's, rule of tyranny. Our duty is to assist them in finding safety. Why? Because they're God's family. They're brothers and sisters. We are united. And to date, Billy, we've settled close to 2,100 Afghan refugees.
Yeah, just since the fall of Kabul, which, because we've been doing this work for 20-something years when the war first began. But I was thinking about, and Pope Francis talked about this recently with regard to migration, not thinking of just numbers, but of faces. With every number is a face.
Yes.
And I think about 2,100 faces, men, women, and lots of children.
Yeah, and I'm so proud of Catholic Charities and all the incredible work our migration services have done to help those families and find stability and peace, and doing it, as you said, in just such a Christ-like, compassionate way. And to all in the diocese who support Catholic Charities and the Bishop's Lenten Appeal that will allow us to do such work. These people come with nothing. And usually back at home, they were very settled, successful, hardworking. Then they come with nothing. So it's really so. And, we also assist with refugees from other areas of the world to resettle. We help people to work through the legal immigration system, which we know is broken, to migrate here. And our hope, Billy, is that through education, advocacy, and charitable works, we can help create the conditions that people need to live in safety and dignity wherever they choose to reside. So
Absolutely.
it's a privileged work, and it's carried out in the Lord's name.
Absolutely. So Bishop Burbidge has a full statement for National Migration Week available at arlingtondiocese.org. You can also read it in the Herald. You can join Bishop Burbidge at St. Agnes Parish in Arlington for Mass on September 24th at 11 a.m. to mark the World Day of Prayer for Migrants and Refugees. Again, that's St. Agnes Parish, September 24th at 11 a.m. Bishop, the Called Conference is next weekend. For those who don't know, it's now basically a sold-out event. They do have a waiting list building if you're interested for young adults on September 23rd. Now, young adults are anyone single or married between the ages of 19 and 35. I didn't realize I had passed that several years ago. I thought I was still in that group, but not so much. But the day's going to include, breakout sessions, dinner, prayer, live music, vendors, lots of time for fellowship and socialization. There's going to be ministry booths if people are thinking about maybe getting involved in volunteering. I'm curious, what inspired you and the young adult ministry team here to start this event, and what role do you maybe see this demographic playing in the life of the church?
Sure, and yes, it's actually this weekend, September 23rd, just a few days from we're recording it now, and it's as you mentioned, Billy, it's a day of information. Young adults will have time to be together, to hear speakers, and then pray, and then we'll have Mass. I'll be honored to be the celebrant and homilist at the Mass, and then we'll have a great time and some dinner, and it's just going to be a wonderful, wonderful day. And we're so blessed in this diocese to have so many young adults, very faithful young adults who clearly love the Lord and want to serve, and they want to be together. It's like all of us. We need to be in that community and groupings where there's people who kind of have the same experiences that we have and are from the same generation. It's an opportunity for them to lift up each other, to encourage each other in faith. So I am so grateful to our Office for Youth and Young Adult Ministry for conducting this day. I think it's going to be really one of spiritually enriching and enjoyable for our young adults who gather. And, it's a way of us saying as a diocese that when we look to our young adults, they're not the future only of the church. They're the church now.
Right.
We need them now more than ever. We need their engagement, their active participation in the life of their parishes. We need their joy. We need their zeal. We need their ideas, their creative ideas. I mean, we're all asking, how can we get more people back to church who are called, this is a great name for this conference, called to come home. Listen to some of the great ideas, creative ideas our young adults have. And I think it's a reminder for the church, and I would even humbly say, even in our diocese, that we have to be a little bit more intentional and do a better job in inviting young adults to leadership within the church. Now, so sometimes young adults will say to me, and I understand why, that it's great what the church does for us and, these events that they have for us, but we want to serve now. We want to be in leadership roles in our parishes and in our dioceses. And so we're trying to do a better job of that when we form our different councils and committees to make sure we have representatives from this young adult community in leadership roles. They're not too young to be assisting in leadership. And so we, this is a way of, I hope this day that our young adults see this as, first of all, as the love that the church has for them, that I have for them as their bishop. I so much get energized in being with them, and as a recognition of the gifts that you bring to the church.
Very good. So Saturday, September 23rd, if you'd like to get on the waiting list, go ahead and sign up for that. It's also a way for the young adult ministry to be able to reach out to you in the future for other events and activities and opportunities down the road. Bishop, when I look over your calendar, it's clear to me that the school year is well underway, and you have one school visit after another lined up. So as you've begun visiting all of our different schools and greeting the students and the faculties and staffs. What are some of the biggest takeaways you've had from the school visit so far?
Yeah, it's a great joy. Beginning in August, I start celebrating the beginning of the academic year with the Mass of the Holy Spirit at our colleges and universities within our diocese, our 4 Catholic high schools. And then I've been doing some visits to some great schools in between. And again, Billy, this is one of the things on my calendar, on my schedule, that brings me great joy. I mean, I just love being out in our schools, and I get so energized, and it's just really a wonderful experience. So what do I see? I see parents making incredible sacrifices to send their kids every day to a school where their children are assisted by very talented, gifted Catholic educators to assist them in the formation and education of their children. That our parents make sacrifices so their children are in a religious atmosphere where there are religious articles and crucifixes where they can pray every day, can stop class to go to Mass, where they learn about their faith, and in that beautiful environment of breathing that kind of air every day, especially in our day and age where, in other settings that is often far from the case. So I see our students and their joy. I see behind the scenes the sacrifices of their parents, the dedications of our teachers, and the reason why maybe the Lord tells us to be childlike. Jesus tells us, He doesn't tell us to be children. He says, be childlike. In other words, their innocence, their desire to learn, their joy for life. And it's just so exciting. And our Catholic schools have, once again this year, seen an increase in our enrollment. So there's just so many blessings to see. And you never know, Billy, you never know the questions they ask you. So they keep you very, very, very humble. Just the other day in one of the schools, I think it was second grade, this young girl was raised her hand, and it looked like a very, very, very important question. So I called on her right away, and she pointed to a picture, and she says, "How come you don't look as young as you do in that picture?" I was like, all right, that is humbling.
Yes.
But thank God, I think the picture was 7 years ago.
That's good. All right, so we have a question from a parishioner. Before we get to that, it's a very sensitive question, but before we get to that, we want to thank everyone who has given to the Bishop's Lenten Appeal. You make so many ministries in this diocese possible through your generosity and your goodwill. One of those is the communications office, and you make this podcast a possibility, so thank you to those who have given. You can sign up for our e-newsletter at arlingtondiocese.org. We provide great monthly summaries of what's going on, some of the best content we've created, as well as events that are coming up, and statements and messages from Bishop Burbidge. Bishop Burbidge is on X, formerly known as Twitter. I don't know if I'll get used to that for a while, but at Bishop Burbidge, where every day he provides a short gospel reflection for that day. You can also follow him on Instagram, where we provide different messages from his homilies and statements and spiritual reflections. That's at Bishop Michael Burbidge. And the diocese is on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. All right, for our question, it says, September is Suicide Prevention Month. I have heard all kinds of rumors about whether people who commit suicide can go to heaven. Can you please clear this up for me?
Sure. It is a very sensitive question. It's Suicide Prevention Month. We acknowledge that this is still a reality. And first of all, we pray immediately for anyone at this moment in their lives who are suffering anxiety, depression, despair, mental, emotional illness. We always pray for their healing, the healing that only our Lord can give. And even, Billy, when someone does commit suicide, the first thing we think of is compassion. We think of mercy. We think of God's mercy and God's love for his beloved sons and daughters. And as we know, when someone takes his or her own life, at that point, they're really not free. Maybe that mental illness or that emotional illness or that despair or anxiety just overcame them, and they lost that freedom. And we always teach that, you're not guilty of mortal sin if you're not free. And so, we never declare, someone's not with God. On rare occasions we say someone is God when they're saints. Right. But I know that at the funeral mass of people who commit suicide, we celebrate that in faith. We celebrate the life of that person, the blessings that person brought to others. And then at that final stage, maybe for the various reasons we discussed, now we entrust that person to the God who knows them, to the God alone who sees within their hearts and who they are, the God we believe forgives and embraces and loves and again embraces in mercy. And I know it's it's a trauma for families and who have loved ones who commit suicide. Please know we're praying for you too. That God will help you in this healing. It will never be the same. I understand that, but that God will allow you to move forward and that you experience His healing love, and know that help is there for you also. Through your priest, through your counseling, whatever. And God forbid there could be someone out there right now who is due to despair or depression or emotional suffering right now, who may be contemplating, taking one's life. But please know how precious you are in the sight of God. You are God's son. You are God's daughter. His very Spirit lives within you, and He will never abandon you. And I know that at times it does feel like sometimes for us that the world's abandoned us, or those we love have abandoned us. I feel alone. You're not alone. God is with you. We're praying for you, and there is help available. There is help available. I know we have there's a 988 suicide lifeline. Our parish priests are there to help you. Our counselors are there to help you. So please know you're never alone. God loves you. And brothers and sisters, let's commit today, especially as we talk about this sensitive subject, for all those who are suffering from depression or anxiety or mental illness, that they feel the love of God and know that He is there for them and that we are there for one another.
All right, Bishop, if you would also close us out with a blessing and a final message, maybe.
Absolutely. And again, I hope everyone, at this time of year is seeing God's goodness, God's blessings, especially in the beauty of creation as we look all around us, and in the goodness of one another. And again, may we always be there for each other, to lift up, to encourage each other in faith as we walk humbly with our God. Thank you for listening to the Walk Humbly podcast. Make sure you check out more episodes on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. You can follow me on Twitter at Bishop Burbidge, where I offer gospel reflections each morning and share photos and updates of what is going on in the Diocese of Arlington. Stay up to date with news, event information, and inspirational content by subscribing to our e-newsletter at arlingtondiocese.org.